All right, everyone, freeze! The Bingery is here to talk about all those might-miss moments in Disney films. Okay, so we're including Pixar movies in this list, but honestly, the two are synonymous at this point. What's more, both studios love leaving little shout-outs that only the keenest eye can discover. Well, that is the keenest eye that doesn't hit the pause button. With the remote in hand, we found a bunch of the top pause Disney moments for you to enjoy. Trust us, you won't believe some of these secret joys hiding in the corners of your favorite film. '25. The Sven cameo, Moana. Sven is the kind of side character that gets more appreciation after each rewatch. Parents who have kids watching this movie 10 times a day know exactly what we mean. This reindeer takes some time to grow on you.
Sometimes I really don't like you.
He's the tortoise to Rudolph's hair, if that's even a fair comparison to make. Turns out the animators of Moana recognized Sven's distinct look before anyone else. When Maui's trying to nail his transformations, he goes through all sorts of animals. One specific animal is Sven. It happens so quickly that most people miss it the first time watching. Only an immediate reaction on the pause button will bring out the desired results. 24. Nani's poster, Lilo and Stitch. Nani is a strong, independent woman who doesn't need no man. She's always taken care of business and doing her best to take care of her younger sister. Now adding in a chaotic alien to the household doesn't help, but she certainly did her best. Some may wonder where this strength comes from. Well, it turns out Nani has a brilliant role model. In the background of an early scene, a poster is shown. The poster is for the movie Mulan. Clearly, Nani was a big fan of the Disney heroine growing up. Suddenly, everything makes way more sense. It's the only way she could deal with Lilo and her new dog Stitch for that long. 23. The Incredibles comic, Finding Nemo. This entry is the first one on the list that is classic. For many people, this Easter egg was the first one they heard about from Pixar. This was early internet, and message boards across the globe lit up with the paused image of an Incredibles foreshadowing. For those still not in the know, though, let's explain. In the dentist's office, a kid can be seen waiting for his appointment. We're not meant to focus on him because the fish are the star of the show. However, the child is reading a particular comic book. It's a direct image of the retro Mr. Incredible on the front cover. 22. From Trash to Treasure, WALL-E. Who looks at trash? Like, what maniac scans the background of WALL-E examining the garbage? Well, we do actually, and apparently we're not the only ones. Tons of fans have found a hidden callback to Toy Story. It's a reach, but with Pixar it has to be intentional. In the background of one scene, you can clearly see a few bright orange traffic cones. To the average viewer, that seems like nothing. In reality, the cones are a reference to Toy Story 2. It's a famous scene that all the fans of the film will remember fondly. So maybe they're just trashed cones, but honestly, we doubt it. 21. Mickey in the Crowd, a Goofy movie. A Goofy movie is the perfect example of an underrated Disney film that millennials will never forget. The lack of eyeballs on the film means a lot of the subtle Easter eggs go unnoticed. People don't scan Goofy's backgrounds as much, and it's truly a shame. Still, for the smart fans who appreciate this beautiful art, there is an excellent possible moment. When the crowd's dancing and celebrating, you need to look carefully. Tucked into all the Goofy lookalikes is Mickey Mouse. Yes, the corporate icon is hidden in the group like a Where's Waldo picture. We just wonder if he went backstage to praise his old friend's son or stayed in the mosh pit. 20. A113, Toy Story. Pixar fanatics know precisely what that sequence represents, but we can't all be experts. For everyone out of the loop, A113 is a common sight in Pixar movies. It's a reference to the classroom used by many of the Pixar creators during their time at university. A fun nod to their origins. The sequence showed up in their very first film. So yeah, Pixar has been placing subtle Easter eggs in their movies since the beginning. Mr. Davis's car has A113 on its license plate. Just wait though, there's an even more recent sighting of the room number in a recent film. We'll get to it later in this list. 19. Sid's cameo, Toy Story 3. Have you ever wanted to test your friend's passion for Pixar? The best way to do it is to make them watch Toy Story 3. Yes, it's an emotional movie that brings tears to the eyes of anyone with a heart, but the real test is in an Easter egg. Look, if your friends don't get psyched seeing Sid's cameo, something is wrong. Like most of this list, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment. As the garbage truck comes to take out the trash, a nondescript trash man jumps off the back. The skull on his shirt is a direct reference to Sid from Toy Story. Perhaps this is what he's doing now as an adult. 18. Pizza Planet Camper, Bug's Life. Everyone knows about the Pizza Planet truck. It's something you probably learned about as a kid. It's a unique secret that's been around for so long that no one cares. Think of it as the 7 wonders of the world. You can appreciate the awe it provokes, but the luster was lost a while back. Still, we want to pay tribute to the OG Pizza Planet cameo. After all, they've been dropping this vehicle in movies since the very beginning. A Bug's Life immediately followed Toy Story in release order, yet even it features the car. It's camped out on a site during a quick moment. Keep an eye out for it next time. 17. Sunnyside, Inside Out. Inside Out could provide us with an entire list of Easter eggs and freeze-frame moments. It's the kind of film that's built to host a few send-ups to previous films. The most prominent example comes in the big memory montage. When Joy is running through memories, a particular place can be seen in one memory. It's clear to viewers who stop the tape that Riley spent time at Sunnyside Daycare as a kid. Yes, that's the same daycare our favorite toys end up at during Toy Story 3. Just wow! The amount of detail in these movies is incredible. It's a tough detail to spot though. 16. Radiators Drive-In. Cars. We're doing our best to resist all the Cars conspiracy theories while talking about this entry. Mostly because the thought of smart cars swallowing humanity is a bit too spooky for us. We do want to bring up a funny detail in the lives of these sentient automobiles. Radiator Springs doesn't have much going on, but even some of the smallest towns have a movie theater. Obviously, in the Cars universe, all theaters are drive-ins. We actually get a glimpse of this theater for just a quick second. If you look closely, you can clearly see the movie being played as a car version of Toy Story. That's wild. 15. Ramirez Hometown. Cars 3. That's right, we're not done with Cars quite yet. We want to touch on the most recent movie in the trilogy. The film came out recently, but we still found the time to spot this foreshadowing moment. It ties directly to Ramirez's memories. We get a specific location of where this car is from, but at the time it felt unimportant. It wasn't until Coco came out that fans realized it's the same place. Both characters in their respective films are from the same hometown. We were given some Coco content before we even knew it. At this point, the animators at Pixar are just showing off, right? 14. Disney DVD parodies. Zootopia. It's not easy to make fun of yourself. Just look at any roast to ever happen on Comedy Central. They never end the night with a special guest joking about themselves. If they do, it's never any good. So it makes it surprising to see Disney pull out this great gag. While trying to follow the trail, main characters Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde interrogate a weasel selling counterfeit DVDs. The Disney detectives obviously paused at the exact frame that the DVDs get displayed and noticed a great collection. All the films are Disney movies with animal parodies provided instead. Is it wrong that we would totally watch more than half of these? 13. Find Nemo. Monsters, Inc. Once again, in the early days of the internet, message boards lit up with a special message. They told people that if you looked hard enough, then you'd see a Nemo plush toy in Monsters, Inc. No one considered taking a picture of all the times our fishy friend shows up, so it was up to each individual to pause and spot. The hidden plush toy was a way of building excitement for the future film. If you were a kid when these films came out, you probably tried searching too at one point. Well, in between spontaneous renditions of "Put that thing back where it came from."
Or so help me!
12. Wanted. Prince Hans. Big Hero 6. There's a ton of hero references in this film, which makes sense given the title of the movie. Really, if they didn't do that, we'd be disappointed. However, this entry isn't focused on the heroes. It's more about the villains. One quick background search is required to spot this wanted photo. It's in the police department during a small scene. Behind the officer, you can clearly see Frozen's antagonist, Prince Hans. The picture says he's wanted, but the crime is not specified. Which makes sense, because no one likes spoilers. Imagine if it had been specified. The poster would have said something like, "Wanted, Prince Hans, for the attempted upheaval of a royal kingdom." Talk about major spoilers. 11. Bon Voyage Strikes Again. Ratatouille. Bon Voyage is a great send-up to the classic villains of the golden era of comics. His whole persona and design just screams cool villain incoming. Which makes it a bummer that we only see this big bad evil guy for a few scenes. He had so much more to contribute. Well, if you didn't get your Bon Voyage fix, then might we recommend Pixar's famous Ratatouille. This delectable film features 2 quick cameos for the character. The first one shows him as a performer on the street. Given the whole mime in Paris stereotype, it might not be him. However, there's also a newspaper article in one scene that's clearly about this villain. 10. Cars Cuisine. Cars 2. It's hard to imagine Cars cooking. Those wheels shouldn't be able to grip a spatula, let alone make a perfect dish, yet here we are. Which is fine. There are weirder things that happen in Cars 2. Let's be upfront about that. However, it's the trip to Paris that gets us all excited. One can clearly see a restaurant named Gusteau if they pause at the right moment. It's a reference to Ratatouille and the restaurant Gusteau that features heavily. The whole theme of that movie is anyone can cook, so sure, we guess Cars can cook. The real question is, does Gusteau have a rat helping with the dishes or not? 9. Darla's Photo. Finding Dory. It's still a mystery to us as to how this little child became synonymous with sinister motives and evil deeds. Darla has a passion for fish, and she simply gets overexcited. She's not the Hannibal Lecter that the Tank Gang makes her out to be. Now, she obviously needed to stop shaking that bag. That goes without saying. There's hope that Darla did at some point. Her old pictures can be seen at the desk of one of the aquarium workers. Maybe it's Darla's mother or father. Perhaps our favorite dentist moved to California for a new career. Heck, perhaps it's Darla herself with a reminder of why she saves fish now. The world will never know. 8. Lady and the Tramp, 101 Dalmatians. Finally, we're back to some good old-fashioned Disney animation. Yes, even the older films in their canon feature some callbacks and freeze-worthy moments. This entry comes to us from 101 Dalmatians, one of Disney's first animated films to be turned into a live-action remake. We're here to focus on the animated version. One transition shot shows some dogs walking across the street into an alley. The audience only sees the silhouette, but the cameo is clear. Two of those dogs are definitely Lady and the Tramp. After all those years, the two can still be seen together. Clearly, they're one of the most iconic Disney couples. 7. Candy cameo, Frozen. Some may argue this entry is a reach, but we beg to differ. The tiniest details can be a shout-out to other movies that Disney produced, so take this with a grain of salt if you want to, but consider us true believers in this Easter egg. Frozen features a funny scene where Anna stuffs her face with a bunch of candy and chocolates. To the average person, that's all this scene is showing. Pause the scene. Look closely at the candy. You can't tell us it doesn't resemble the decoration of Sugar Rush and Wreck-It Ralph? Sure, it might just be a similar animation style, but even that's a nice touch. It's a connection between the two films. 6. Good Dinosaur callback, Good Dinosaur. Okay, some of you have waited all video for this. We hope you enjoyed the list and the wait to this point. We're finally at the more recent reference to A113. Yes, it's really in this movie, we promise. It's hard to believe, but trust us. Seriously, some of these moments you can spot if you're quick and don't need to pause. We'll admit to that. However, this is certainly not one of those moments. You need to pause at just the right moment and scan a specific wooden fence. If you keep looking for long enough, you'll spot the classroom number. There's seriously no other way to see this without stopping your film. 5. Luigi drives by, Finding Nemo. Cars whizzing by on the freeway is a goldmine for Pixar animators. Most of you already know about the Pizza Planet car zooming by Gil and company as they make their Frogger-like roll across the road. That car is super easy to spot now that you're always looking for it. However, tons of people miss the other cameo. Luigi from Cars also passes by our fleeting fish in the briefest of seconds. It was even harder to spot at the time because Cars hadn't come out at that point. Given the fact, this is an end credit scene.
Now what?
People hardly go and rewatch it. Hence, why it took so long for someone to spot this little guy was driving on by. 4. Lotso cameos, Up. Okay, calm down. We promise this entry isn't about that opening scene from Up. We don't want to make you cry this late in the video. It's terrible for analytics. This one is about a more joyous scene in Up. Specifically, when Coral is finally flying away. As his balloon house floats away, the film cuts to a child's room as they look on in wonder. The frame wants you to focus on the kid and the house passing by the window. Pixar pausers notice another detail though, and it involves Toy Story 3's primary villain. A Lotso bear can be seen poking out from under the bed. It's not the one we see later, but it's a nice touch. 3. Crush sticker, Toy Story 3. Crush being shown in another movie? We know what he'd say to that.
Dude, check it out!
This surfing sea turtle is a chill dude, with all the relaxing vibes to help even Marlin chill out. It makes sense that someone like Andy may also buy into his vibes. Andy has a ton of posters and stickers all around his room that shows his love for skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing. Clearly, the addition of a sticker, including this legendary surfer, makes sense. It's really the only way you can explain Crush's inclusion. Well, unless Andy wanted to become a marine biologist. But then we'd see him in Finding Dory too, right? 2. Dinosaur hides out, Monsters U. A child's bedroom is the ultimate hiding spot for animators. Anytime you see a bedroom with a bunch of toys and posters, pause that film. We're willing to bet you find at least one special treat put there by the crew. The fake child's room in Monsters University is no exception. During the scare games, a fake child room is constructed, but one toy stands out amongst the rest. Just like the first film features Nemo, this sequel gave special attention to an upcoming movie. The Good Dinosaur can be seen in his much smaller scale among the many toys on the ground. See, we told you it's almost a guarantee. 1. Emeryville Beginnings, Incredibles. Let's round off this list with one final callback to the beginnings of Pixar. Disney is proud to have this studio under its wing, and over the years, the two places clearly influenced one another. The Incredibles makes that connection even more evident. When Mr. Incredible is out of town fighting crime, he pulls up his GPS to route himself towards a car chase. All the streets may seem random and disconnected, but they're totally inspired by a real-life place. The city is Emeryville, and it's home to Pixar's animation studios. Disney is only around 350 miles from that studio, and the two studios love finding ways to reference their homes. Well, there you have it. We hope this list wasn't too fast for you and didn't leave you pausing to pick out details. Did we miss some great pausable moments? Let us know below, and subscribe and like this video to show your support for all things The Binger.